Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And we have got a couple of my favorite bots here. It's going to be Tito taking on BenBotBC. TVZ, bot versus bot match. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just hit this one right out of the gate. Click that like button. If we can get 35 likes for the amount of seconds that had passed before BenBot proxied this barracks, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. Subscribe and consider becoming a YouTube member if you want to get the member bonus video. This week it was Argobot versus Small Bly. And yeah, just also if you want to get started programming a bot, maybe you've watched some of these videos. AI Arena has all the info you need, a great wiki. And yeah, join the Discord too. Enough of that, though, as I think this one's, well, I know this one's going to be getting started pretty quickly, seeing as how there's a barracks, stone's throw away from Tito's natural base. Tito does have a Scouting Overlord, one of the perks of being Zerg. It sees the SCV, but misses the barracks. However, it sees the bunker being started and immediately cancels the hatchery, citing a containment. And Tito has got its spawning pool on the way, but now has to deal with a large mineral surplus. Because it canceled that hatchery, it probably needs to start up a second gas or something like that. Spawning pool finishes up. We immediately get the second gas after that, along with the Roach Warren, the Queen, and a couple of Lings. So Tito is responding to this bunker rush, this bunker containment, as this is really how BenBot likes to open up. Opening up with the proxy to delay the opponent for a relatively small investment, and then to build up its own economy behind this. BenBot does start up another supply depot, liking its wall. Not sure it needed it that soon, actually. It maybe could have started the CC a little bit quicker. But again, BenBot does like to have that solid wall just to keep the potential counter attacks out. A Marine of BenBot is shooting at Tito's Overlord. The pathing on the Overlord going wild, avoiding that Marine. And Tito, with the completed Roach Horn, is firing up, well, a Roach. And it's actually got a lot of resources in the bank. I guess it's just heavily bottlenecked by the larva presently. I was like, why is all this money here? And the answer is, well, when you combine speed mining and Zerg being stuck on one base with canceled hatchery money, that does mean there is a lot of extra cash for the Zerg bot. So hopefully Tito can clean up this containment and get its economy back on track, because there is a command center getting close to finishing for BenBot, and Tito is just starting to siege down on this bunker. Looks like Tito's still not confident enough to engage into this bunker. I like BenBot's Marines actually kind of forcing this Ravager back, keeping the Biles off that bunker. It's quite important. Now, more Ravagers are being produced. The army of Tito is looking quite healthy, as you'd expect from a bot trying to clean up a bunker in its natural. We see the Biles just continuously going off. BenBot's Marines, yeah, they're really doing a great job of stepping away from the bunker, zoning out the enemy units, but then falling back when the enemy gets close. However, those Marines were not long for this world, as Tito was confident enough to break that, sending everything forward, using the Biles, and the containment is cleaned up. Nicely done by the Zerg bot. A lot of work clearly put into that cheese response, and now Tito is looking for a bit of a counter swing. BenBot's strategy is usually pretty strong defensively. It's going to have two bunkers up, a Widowmine, a tank, in order to keep itself safe. But if you have the units, you may as well counter push. As we see, Tito is getting aggressive. Now it's Tito's time to contain its opponent, potentially, as we're starting to get some corrosive biles down on the bunker. Yeah, we'll see how efficiently Tito is going to use these, because you can get so much value with Ravagers. It is attempting to get the barracks. Unfortunately, that's a bit wasted, so the priority there, maybe not the best. It could be getting solid value, maybe even kill a depot or something with the Ravagers. Instead, they're trying to get the barracks, so a bit of a wasted opportunity there. Hellion of BenBot goes out and immediately goes back in. Meanwhile, a couple of SCVs, I think we're going around to try and repair the barracks. With the barracks gone, though, the Ravagers can oh no, the ghost of barracks past is still being corrosive biled. And, okay, a Widow Mine of BenBot moves forward. That will not be long for this world. It gets killed off. Raven moves forward, drops an auto turret, but that is not going to be enough to force this Zerg off the back of Tito. Another corrosive bile goes down. Interestingly enough, the depot not being repaired till it falls lower in HP. Only one of these Ravagers is using its bile, unfortunately. Yeah, Tito really missing a lot of opportunity here. Like, clearly the one Ravager is doing exactly what it should. They have really high range on their corrosive bile. Just these other Ravagers not quite getting the memo, I guess. And so that is leaving a lot of value on the table for Tito. Repair isn't that expensive for Terran, but if you sort of add it up over minutes, potentially, of just corrosive biles having to repair, because tanks can't really deal with Ravagers that perfectly. The Terran usually has to tech up into something else, or a high enough number of, like, Cyclones or Bio or something like that, just to actually punish the Zerg for sitting outside of their base. This Raven is trying, and it almost gets that one Ravager. Yeah, Tito just... this one Ravager paths to the side. The barracks is gone, buddy. You should be attacking the front. Tito is getting its economy on track behind this, going up to 3 bases. BenBot, though, is already landed and morphing its own 3rd base. The battle cruiser is on the way. I like how I say the battle cruiser, not just a battle cruiser. It's BenBot. There's going to be a battle cruiser, so yes. And a high-sec auto tracking being researched. Tito is getting up a Spire and Infestation Pit, so it is teching up. Hopefully we get a 4th base from the Zerg soon, and look at that. And now the 3rd base getting saturated up. The contain just hasn't done that much damage. Like, BenBot clearly is doing okay. It's got its 3rd base, so yeah, unfortunate for Tito that it wasn't able to get more counter damage. I think there is high potential for a Ravager bot that really punishes its opponent, because again, like, you get... I think there's room, if you have a bot with like 4 Ravagers, to really punish a sitting Terran like this. And if those Ravagers got a little further forward, like, yeah, BenBot could have really been in trouble. Now, looks like we hear the tag, jump enemy base. BenBot has a BC going on in. It does not have Yamato cannon. It's going to attack the Spore Crawler, though, and it might actually get it. No, it turns around, just losing a little too much HP, partly thanks to that Queen. I think that Spore might have died without her assist. There is a Corruptor on the way. And yeah, let's see, BenBot, it's got a 4th base building behind this. There is a armory going up 2, Corruptors building for Tito, which is very important to deal with these battle cruisers. BenBot's going for a little bio push. However, it is exactly that, a relatively small amount of bio. There is combat shield, but no stim pack. BenBot's bio forces are usually pretty secondary to the main mech battle cruiser show, but it is nice that it did at least poke out, quickly changed its mind, but fortunately it wasn't just a suicidal sack attack. And then we have got the one more Corruptor coming in after one got Yamato cannon. This Corruptor is afraid of the BC, maybe rightfully so. There is some skirmishing going on, and this BC does end up teleporting out of there to safety. A base in the upper right is being poked by a Hellion. The Hellion gets killed. Hellion did get a single drone. That was long distance mining. Both bots, though, are expanding. Yeah, we've got what should be a good macro game here, as both of these bots have got a nice economy, lots of tech to use. We'll see just whether Tito can maybe deal with BenBot if BenBot gets to that maxed out, like, 5, 6 battle cruiser count that really is difficult to deal with. BenBot's got a lot of supply right now in bio, though, and I don't think the bio will be able to handle like Ravagers and Hydras and Lings. A lot of the onus is going to be on these BCs. BenBot is constructing a 5th base. It's got an extra, needs more supply. As we get a chat tag there, build supply fail. Tito, though, is getting ready to push on in. BenBot is skirmishing with its bio. We get a Yamato cannon on a Ravager. Corruptors are coming in, though, and their numbers are currently at 6, which is pretty reasonable. A BC of BenBot actually gets killed, teleporting out too late. I think it might have got a move command or something. And so BenBot attempting to secure up this 5th base it's not going to happen. Or maybe not, although the bio is actually doing pretty well. I kind of knocked it earlier. The numbers are pretty good for BenBot. The bio is stimmed. There is only 1 medivac to heal it up, but they were able to kind of force the Zerg back a bit. Still, though, mission accomplished for Tito. It got the 5th base. So BenBot getting punished for building that on location, unfortunately. And that one actually gets killed, I think, by the biles. So that is painful, as Tito is really starting to push the front now. Ravagers dropping corrosive biles. That's going to be a dead Widow Mine. Lurkers are now starting to burrow. We get a parasitic bomb. Oh my gosh, I need to turn off chat, as that was a lot of spam, as BenBot was splitting its units in the face of that parasitic bomb. Tito's maxed out. BenBot's pretty close to maxed out, but the walls are closing in a bit on the Terran. We'll see whether BenBot can maybe get some momentum. However, losing the battle cruiser, losing the base, that's painful. And with Tito maxing out, it can basically just invest in tech. It is getting upgrades, which is very notable. I did actually just scan ahead in the replay to make sure that upgrades were researched, and I was like, okay, this can be cast, as we didn't want a repeat of their previous game. Now, Marauders and Marines of BenBot are actually doing quite well. I maybe shouldn't have knocked BenBot's bio so hard. The numbers of them are just pretty significant. With the Raven comboing, the Lurkers are actually getting killed off, and if BenBot can maintain Marines on the ground, that's just very significant, because they can actually help zone out the Corruptors and the likes too. So yeah, BenBot successfully pushing out, cleaning up some of the creep. We'll see if it can get up a 5th base or not. The 5th is massively important in this situation, because we've seen many a game in which the Terran dies being unable to secure the 5th. There is a Liberator that was sieged up to defend this base. That goes down. Marauders are now in trouble, as Tito does have lots of Lings. BenBot's got a very high mineral count. We see how getting all this Terran mech, getting all this tech is really heavy on the gas, whereas BenBot has got a significant mineral bank. That is a huge, huge mineral bank. I do want to do a bit of a look to make sure it is mining off all its gases. It is. Yeah, just the composition is incredibly gas heavy. So BenBot unable to spend that mineral bank. It would be nice. Does BenBot have a new command center? No, it doesn't at this point. I would like it to build one inside the main base, just so when it does try and expand again, which it needs to do, it could maybe do that a little quicker, a little safer, as it is like building them on location is nice at times, but sometimes you do gotta float them. Now, a battle cruiser gets grabbed, gets killed off. Vikings get some payback as they do kill a Viper. However, Corruptors are now hunting down these Vikings, and with Tito's +2 attack, these air units are dealing lots of damage. Battle cruiser from behind drops the Yamato cannon. That guy's gonna have to get out of there. You gotta teleport out of there, buddy, as yeah, these Corruptors really chew through the Terran units with their nice +2 attack upgrades. We've got Tito getting 3-1 on the ground units, +3 for the air units too. Some neural parasites are actually going down as 2 of BenBot's battle cruisers are grabbed, and I think there is a spore crawler kill zone. Will this guy get teleported to its death? It doesn't even really need to be teleported. It was almost dead, but there we go. The spore crawler kill zone being employed by Tito to great success in this game. And yeah, BenBot just in a lot of trouble, being unable to secure this 5th. There are scans being dropped, creep trying to be cleaned up. The Terran just doesn't have enough of a consolidated force. The battle cruiser's unable to avoid these threats. I think that one was trying to grab that lurker, but there's so many corruptors, and this is really scary because BenBot is getting gas starved. How much gas is left inside the main? There's a reasonable amount left, but the trades are quite poor. We're getting ghosts added into the mix, which could improve things for the Red Terran. But again, no 5th command center built inside the main base. So even if it is able to kill off one of these bases, it's not going to be able to secure one. It takes forever to build a command center, then to morph it into a planetary, to build your defensive turrets. So I'm really concerned as BenBot is still skirmishing with Tito, but the trades aren't going all that well. The Bioforce still maintains a presence on the ground. The Vikings can skirmish. Another battle cruiser gets abducted, though. Neural Parasite in effect. Marauders unable to save it in time, and so the battle cruiser gets yeeted onto the Spore Crawler kill zone. Does it actually die? Yes, it does. And yeah, Yamato cannons going down. More of these BCs still fighting. BenBot's got a reasonable supply, but another battle cruiser gets grabbed with the Neural Parasite, even shooting at its friend. It's probably going to be teleported to its death, and there it goes as the BC is having a tough time. Even 3-2 upgrades will not save it. Now another battle cruiser is grabbed as well, so oh, that one actually gets out of there. Its teleport was on cooldown, so some of these lurkers, or pardon me, infestors, may be getting killed. Another one gets grabbed and then promptly teleported onto the Spore Crawlers. Not one, but two. They may actually save each other if this guy starts taking the damage. No, instead they'll both go down. This is just getting too costly for BenBot, and it's not gaining any ground. I think Tito is successfully containing its opponent to death, as I really love how Tito has taken the bases. So it's not like BenBot needs to just build a base. It needs to kill a base, clear the creep, build the base on location with its current logic, morph it into a planetary. It's just, it needs to be unharassed, and Tito is not a bot that sits back and lets its opponent take bases. So I think BenBot may just die in the end here. The battle cruisers are not getting enough efficiency. Maybe the Ghost can turn things around by getting some snipes. Resources lost maybe is evening up a little bit here, but again, BenBot doesn't have an economy for long, basically, and that's making me nervous. I am curious just how much things may turn around with the Ghosts. It's probably BenBot's best help at the moment, whether they can shut down the infestors and allow the BCs to get some better efficiency, or whether it is just going to be on the Ghost to get some snipes. But here we go. Tito even neural parasiting a tank, shooting its own SCVs. Lurkers burrowing in front of the planetary fortress. BenBot's still got 170 supply. That's not that bad, and this could actually be an opportunity if Tito overstepped a little bit. It has lost a fair few lurkers. There are the Ghosts in play, but another battle cruiser gets neural parasited. We might need to see BenBot at some point start preemptively burning its battle cruiser teleports, because at some point, when the alternative is them just getting killed consistently because of it, that's not great. So Tito is just slowly starving BenBot out. Resources lost are almost evening out, but that battle cruiser just gets absolutely demolished by infestors and corruptors. Another tank gets grabbed, shooting at the planetary now. Yeah, Tito showing some really great infestor spellcaster usage. The lurkers set up between the bases is so effective. And yeah, look at that. It's just a nightmare for BenBot. BenBot's pretty much out of mineral income at this point. So no minerals, not much gas. Really well done by Tito. I think this might be one of the first games that Tito has really won against BenBot without any major quirks or anything going on. So very exciting to see these two having some, I'll say, kind of complete matches. There wasn't any major bugs, I don't think, from either of them. So Yeah, it's exciting just to think about, like, what could you possibly do to improve things, whether it's compositional changes or just mythology changes. As, yeah, like, BenBot, maybe it could have got up that 5th if it had built it and then floated it instead. It's difficult to say. Yeah, maybe it needs to abandon the BCs or get some more anti-air. Cyclones could have some possibility, I think, just because they basically force your opponent units to retreat with their lock-on. So who knows, maybe mixing in a few of those or something like that. It's a lot easier said than done, though, and both of these authors have done fantastic work programming their bots. That's why they're such a treat to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched up until this point in the game, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. Consider becoming a YouTube member if you want to get extra videos. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this one. BenBot will slowly perish here. But this was a great game from both of these bots. The Corruptors really were great for Tito. Perhaps some of the best Corruptor usage I've seen. They're units that have a lot of possibilities. And they require a lot of work because obviously they can't just attack ground units. And I think Tito just had a lot of them be massacred there, but it's won the game already, so it's fine. Okay. The slow cleanup of BenBot's fortress. GG.